My name is Mika Obanda. I am a visual artist. I've been doing art for the last 5 years, and in my work is a translation of how I experience my life. So like how I go through life, because I feel like it's very unique in its own way, and that's why I feel like the urge of keep documenting it, because much of our experiences are not documented much by other people, and we can't wait for other people to come document it. If I can tell it through my art, well and good. So I do it through my art. I create art that expresses what I've gone through in life, the things that are the highlights of my life, like those that catch my attention. That's what I address. I started my career 5 years ago, that's 2019, but now being expressing what I'm going through in life, I started in 2023, end of 2023. Yeah, and since then I've never regretted that decision. I grew up in Mukuru Kwa Reuben, and my dad left when I was in class 4. Actually, in class 3, they had a fight with my mom, and in class 4, 5 there, he was coming and going from Kisumu to Nairobi, Busia to Nairobi and back. And then when I was in class 5 now, he didn't come back again. That was like it. So he left. And we are in contact most of the time, but not all the time. The last time I talked to him was last year, and that's, can tell the distance, that distance. So growing up with my mom has been a very impactful thing in my life. That's why I can say that it's a very unique experience, because I feel like most people, they get to get these experiences, but they can use them in a way of self-distracting, to avoid being seen, or maybe being talking about anything like that. But I use it as a form of expression. I take it as an advantage and use it as an expression for my work. And through that, being with my mom, I have made a body of work, which I showed at One Off Gallery. That was 2023. That was my first exhibition at One Off Contemporary Art Gallery. And then after that, I did my second exhibition at Wajuku Artist Collective. That was last year in around October. And it happened for 2 weeks. It was about femicide. And most of these were inspired by things that my dad used to do to my mom, and things that I would experience men doing to women, and those that I would experience myself. So, and then I made a whole body of work around femicide and how it's dangerous for our society. And it was well received, and I'm so happy. And through that exhibition, I got to opportunity to work on this showcase. So every year, it propels to a new thing. Yeah, so that experience, the way I've grown in Mukuru Kwa Reuben, my work is a expression of all those experiences coming together into this one big body of work. Like who I am every day, every year, the person I become is growing from all those experiences, and every showcase, everything that I do, probably even this session. I've been in love with art since I was a kid, since I was a child, and this interest came as a result of my big sister she loved drawing, using crafts most of the time. And that was a very big part of me, because even when I was kicked out of school because of drug abuse and I went to her place again, she still encouraged me to keep drawing. And the first time that I saw her, first time that I was introduced to art was when I was around class 1, and that's when I saw her draw. So, and then fast forward in high school, from 3 I'm being kicked out, then I'm going to her place. And as I'm sitting there, it was a very holistic time, and I was introduced to, she reminded me about art again. So, and then at that time, all this time I've been doing art, and she's been seeing me doing it. But now, at this time that I had just diverted a bit because of drug abuse and all that, she reminded me again to do art again. And since then, this was 2018, second term, when I stayed out of school for the whole term. And through that, and being with her at that time, it was a very, me coming back to myself and my identity and my artistry and my craft. And since then, I've always looked for something to do with creativity. How can I use my creativity? And then this particular remarkable moment, I was in high school, and then we had as this session, a CU session, we would go from school to a nearby church and then have just sessions. And then this particular moment, this preacher was speaking about how do you make yourself useful past what you're being given at school. Like if you want to become maybe an engineer, don't work towards becoming that big engineer that you see in maybe all that you dream of, but you can start working with the mechanics that are around your area. Or maybe if you're an artist, take your work maybe to some place where it can be seen. And through that, I started now becoming out there, like going to maybe spaces where I can show my work, and I would show. And through that, I've gotten to meet some new people. Like that's how I got to Mukuru Youth Initiative. And then later on, I went to Mukuru Art Collective. And that small sermon helped me to like get a, like to know myself and to know my career, to know that it's not always a linear path. Like you get out of school and get to that big space, you have to get slowly. So it has grown in that manner, and art has always been there. Art has always been there. Like that's always my path of expression. Like the way I experience life, it will always be translated in visual forms. Like it's a diary. Like it's my diary. Like it's how I, the same way as someone like writes a diary, like expression of what they go through, the same way I express it through visual art. And through having people in my career, it has helped me to grow and to showcase even more. Like even for this show, when I had my first exhibition, big exhibition at Mukuru Art Collective, Jamie, who bought my first piece for 3,000 Kenyan shillings. Like it has now grown up to now 5 years later, we are doing a showcase together. So it's a pile of connections and like just good people around me who have helped me like to maintain the craft and maintain my vision. That's how my career and visual art has become a very major part in my life and in my path as an artist. First, I was enrolled in Kinyui High School. That's in Ukambani, Matunguru area, near Tala, Kangundo, that side. And when I was there, I was a new student, like everyone. So, and then I even became a prefect in Form 2. I became a class prefect. So, and then I felt like I was not really accepted. Like there was some sense of pressure, like you just need to be accepted by everyone. Because at first I felt like maybe prefects are being accepted. So I went to become prefect. So and then later on I wanted to now become, because like now with becoming a prefect now it became like now you are being pressed down, like now you are not part of us, you can't be with us. So that drove me also away from people. So and then I stopped being a prefect. I decided that now I'll start living my life like now freely. So by doing that now I started now doing drugs. Now, so started now using bang, and that was actually I started first with mbake, I think, cheng, the one that's placed in the mouth, and that was from 2 that term. So and then from 3 first term I started now using bang officially. And I did it for like a whole term. And at that time I was so much in it. And because I would smoke every time at any time. And then now second term, the first day of school, I was coming from the upcountry because my mama had told me to go for prayers in the upcountry. Then I came back to Nairobi, and then I went bought a packet full of bang. And then I went with it to school on the opening day. And that same day, when I was just entering we entered the school very well. We were searched, nothing was found. We went and smoked a bit. And then while we were going to the dormitories, that's when I saw a teacher coming to our dorm. So then I left. So then he saw me leaving. So then he followed me where I was going. So then through that, he came and searched my bag. And that was the first day. Searched my bag, and the second day I was now going home because of now suspension, because of the bang that was in my bag. Because at the time we had smoked, and I didn't hide it again. It was just on the top. So I was kicked out of school. I went home. I could not tell my mom at that time that I was kicked out of school because of bang. But later on she knew. And then the next day, my sister was coming to our place. She picked me up. The weekend was like a family gathering that week. That week, the weekend was a family gathering. There was a lot of conversations just about me. And then I went with my sister. I stayed with her for like a whole 2 months, then, which was a very holistic time. And at that time, she encouraged me to do art. She encouraged me to just focus on God and all the other things. And that was a very life-changing part of me, because like from that time up to now, I feel like my life had purpose. Like I started now focusing on something, started doing something for a reason. And her husband also was a very prayerful person. He prayed all the time, and I even became born again. And since then, I've always been doing art. And so then I I could not go back to the previous school which I was kicked out. I wanted to now go to a new school, which was now Eastleigh High School, where my brother had gone to also. So and then I went to Eastleigh High School. That's where I met my art teacher, my visual art teacher. So, but she couldn't allow me to get into the class at that, because she knew my story with the other school. She couldn't allow me to get into that art class. She was chasing me away all the time, because she thought I would be there to waste time, because art class was like very free. Like anyone could do anything there. Like anyone could just come there and waste the whole day without even being bothered. As long as you're taking it as a lesson, you can just stay there, and no one would, even the teachers wouldn't be worried about you. Yeah, so she would not allow me. I would peep out through the window, and that's how I got to learn about eggshell mosaic. So where I'm using eggshells in my work. And through eggshells now, I got some interest. Like I can make art with eggshells. I can make something creative with this material. And then it was very accessible in my area. Like in Mukuru Kwa Reuben, there's Ngong River passing nearby. So I would go to the Ngong River, collect eggshells all the way, mostly in the mornings or in the evening when people are not there, collect eggshells and go with them home and start making mosaic artworks. And at that time, the teacher had not allowed me to get to the art class. I was just peeping through the window, and then going home, collecting eggshells and start doing art with it. So and then in 2019, I was now in Form 3, because I had repeated when I went to this new school. I repeated to Form 2 because I could not enroll in Form 3. The Form 3s were now going to Form 4. They had already signed up for the KCSE. So in Form 3, in Form 3 now in 2019, when I was now in Form 3, after I watched the students do the eggshells with mosaic at the window, I started doing it now as my own work. So and then I met Adam Masava, one of my mentors, who has really shaped a part of my career, a very big part of my career. That was in 2019, and I showed at his studio. They were having a rooftop exhibition, and it was happening in South Beach Shopping Center. And I think I showed in level 1, for volume 1. They had volume 1, for volume 2, volume 3. I've showed in volume around 3. That's when I showed my first showcase with them. And when I showed it, that's when I sold my first piece of art through the studio, and it was going for 3,000 shillings. At that time, after that, now in Form 4, that's when I got to like officially become an art student. And after that time, the art teacher now, after she saw my work, she started now involving me and making me now part of her class. And that brought some conflict, because before that I was a very good friend with the maths teacher and science teacher. So then when art came in the way, I could not balance becoming the best student in math and the best student in art, because I was so passionate about art. But these other things, I was just doing them because I have no other thing to do. So when art came in the way, everything else didn't matter. So I had to do art. So and then brought some issues, even to fight in the school with the teachers because of art. And then immediately before COVID, that's when we had like a very big fight in the school. And then COVID came, then I could not go back to school. Because they said like now school is closed, so we stayed out of school for like 6 or 7 months, I think. Then we went back in December, and at that time I was fully now an art student only. I was not doing anything else in the school. I was just there for the arts. So getting to the school in the morning, straight to the art room, staying there till the evening, and then going home. So, yeah, so that's how my relationship with art has grown, and how it is like now. I only know that I am only an artist, nothing else. My current showcase is called Ministry of Discovery. It's an expression of how we discover ourselves through making art. Because I feel like it's a very, like for me, to find who I am and even to know what I am, it has had some courage, like something that's not even related with that, but most of it has come through making art. Because I do art all the time. I create art all the time. If I have a problem, the same way as someone would go to a book and write like their diary and everything, me, I come to art. I create an artwork, and that artwork will inform me about what my struggle is. So on my search for identity and even to know who I am and my life, what it is, and even to relate with other people, it has come to a point where I have to make an artwork for me to relate to that. Like last year, I made an artwork around femicide, a body of work around femicide, and it was a very affirming time for me and my identity, because I get to understand the non-binary part of my identity. I got to relate with it now closely because of the body of work that I was releasing. It was on femicide, and that's a point where I got to realize that even me myself, my identity is very something that I keep learning every time I wake up, every time I do anything. So it's a journey of discovering who you are, and also like the body of work is seeking justice for artists. It's giving commentary on lives of artists in their spaces, showing what creativity really is, what making an artwork really is, because I feel like that's not talked about much. It's talked about much within the art circle, the small art circle, people who know art, but people who don't relate to art or don't even know artists, they won't speak about it. So this body of work is bringing that to the limelight to show people what artists go through in their spaces, and also seeking a review of giving a commentary and seeking a review of the creative economy bill. Yeah, so, and for me, it's also like coming from a very spiritual point of view. So I've been researching of it since last year, 2024, on August. And since then until when it opened on 16th August. So it's been like a 1 year research project which I've been doing, and I think it will also be lifelong, because I think I'll keep researching on it, because I keep discovering myself every time. Yeah, so that's basically about the body of work. And also I've researched on it with I've researched on people like Jesus Christ, Bob Marley, Fela Kuti, and Christina Shusho, among others, who I've looked at how they maintained their craft, and also Angela Chibalonza, how they maintained their craft. Like, in as much as they would be push back, like you could say that now you can't do it anymore, but you can still wake up and aim to it and do it. So just looking at those prominent figures helped me like to know what art really is and was to them, and even what it is to me. So it's been it's a body of work around about that journey. So it's branching off from my main body of work, which is called Trying to Blossom. So Trying to Blossom it's an ongoing body of work, because I feel like it's a very broad one, and it's researching on how we blossom, how we try to blossom in, maybe like looking at a setup like in the ghetto, how you try to blossom, and there is all these challenges, like maybe the government doing a lot of things on you, like all these things that are happening behind, but you're still trying to blossom. So for this particular body of work, Ministry of Discovery, I'm looking at artists. So artists trying to blossom, and how they are being affected by the communal, spiritual, everything that's happening around them. Yeah, so that's Ministry of Discovery. My identity, actually, I would not describe it. I would just say I am just a human who is alive, and by being alive, I'm just expressing myself as a human. And with that, for me to be free with myself, I like bringing a label to it. Sometimes I label myself as a they them, as a non-binary person, which I feel it gives me a freedom to experience my life and express it the way I feel. I feel free with it. Yeah, so I don't like putting myself in boxes, but so that's with the whole thing with like me expressing myself as a non-binary person, because I feel like if I box myself as a man, I'll be also like it's a lot of expectation there. If I box myself as a woman, it's also a lot of expectation of how a woman is supposed to behave. So I feel like me just freeing myself in life and opening it to anything. Like if I ever become anything, that's who I am at that particular moment, and I respect and I love what I am at that particular moment. So it's a journey, and I don't think there's a destination. You just have to keep going. In 2024, I did my second solo exhibition where I was using charcoal and some bits of pastel on paper. And I did a body of work around femicide. And the show was called The Commentary Exhibition. It was tackling on femicide, majorly on femicide. So I was looking at it from a queer feminist point of view. And I addressed issues concerning femicide and toxic masculinity, toxic patriarchy, where it originates from. It was a research around all that. And how is it that it's bad for people to express themselves as who they are? Mostly like, why is the feminine energy so in danger? Why is it that when I express my femininity, you get mad? Or when you see a small glimpse of my queerness, it becomes a danger to me or to people that identify like that. So that was one of the reasons why I did the body of work. So to bring that to attention that we are like this. This is who we are, and it's beautiful as it is. But it is beautiful, but it can also make us become targets of violence. Yeah. So the body of work was majored on femicide and what it looks like in Kenya. So it was coming from after protests in January last year, which were femicide protests in January, and they happened across around end of the month of January. That's when the first march, that was the first of its kind in Kenya on dangers of femicide. And it was I felt like so represented by that march, because I felt like queer identities and women are at the core of that march, because femicide affects everyone. It doesn't only affect women. It affects also like majorly on young boys, small boys, women, young women, or anyone can be a victim of femicide. Someone has to just see that small aspect of the way you behave, and they can start maybe becoming violent towards you. I know that femicide is an attack on someone because of the way they present who they are, the way they are alive, and it becomes a danger to them. Like just being as you are. Someone who is very toxic in their masculinity or in their patriarchal, from this patriarchal system that has been there, like someone can decide to attack you because of just that small aspect of your life that they feel it doesn't match to what every other person like you is like. Yeah, and for women it's so high because of that's who they are, and it's becoming a danger. No one sees. Most these people don't see the beauty of femininity, the beauty of being a woman, of the beauty of just being like freely and expressive as yourself. So it becomes a problem, and that's why I did the body of work, and it was a major. I feel like it was a major showcase and shown in a best place. It was shown in Wajuku Artist Collective in Mukuru Kwa Reuben. So the setup itself was very intentional, so that we meet the right people. In 2023, in May 27th, I did my first solo exhibition at one of Contemporary Art Gallery in Roslyn Laundry Estate. And the showcase was called When I Think of My Mom. So it was about when I think of my mom, what comes to my mind. So I made 25 pieces of art using eggshells in mosaic. And what I learned through after that body of work, I learned that many people were boxing me a lot. Like people would box me as a mosaic artist only, and that I have to put myself in that box and stay there as a eggshell mosaic artist and nothing else. So I felt like this can get bad in the long run, but also it can be very promising, but also it can get bad in the long run. So I from that time I decided that I'll free my practice in a way that if something is interesting to me, if any medium is interesting to me, and I feel like it can be something good from my own point of view, doesn't have to get affirmations from anyone, but from my own point of view, it's good as it is. I'll work on it until I see what comes out of it. So that's what I learned, and it was a very amazing showcase. My mom was there in the opening, my big sister was there, my brother was there, my art teacher from Eastleigh High School was there also, and it was my first major. I would say it was a very major show because it really brought me some realization and even some attention from different people, and even it was featured also in the Business Daily, which was a very good feature by Margareta Wagasheru, and it was so nicely written about like that the whole showcase and everything. Yeah, so after I learned about like what my practice really is and not boxing myself as an artist, just accepting that if expression comes, it needs to be told, and it doesn't have to be coming out from this particular medium or this particular style. That freed me and opened my eyes to possibilities of what my art really is about. And through that, now I made the next body of work, which was now the commentary using charcoal only. And then from there, that was last year with charcoal. Now this year I've made with pastel only. So it's like opening up yourself. So like not really boxing yourself to any expectation. Like you should, it's not a must that if you always make certain kind of work that you always stick to that. I feel like it's very important for us to keep freeing ourselves from any kind of bound. Like yes, you loved a particular thing at a particular time. At that time, it was everything, and you loved it. But you've grown, and after as you've grown, you have to do other things. The same way I put this as an example for myself. Like I wear different kinds of shoes. Like sometimes I wear boots, sometimes I wear floats. Like sometimes slippers, and those have different prints on the ground. And so I describe that as being an artist. Like sometimes I'll use a particular medium, charcoal, sometimes I'll use eggshells. Those are all markings on walls or on boards. And they are different markings. The same way a foot marks a different print on the ground, the same way as an artist at a different time, this is what makes sense and this is what I love at this particular moment. So different markings with their own time, and you never know. Even after wearing so many shoes, you'd still come back to a particular shoe. So it's like you have to free yourself in a way that just be alive and make art, and the rest will align, and the story will be told as you freed yourself. Yeah. In 2025 in June 15th at around 22:00 hours. That was 10 p.m. in the evening. My studio was involved. It was on a Sunday. My studio was involved in a fire, and everything that I had created for the last 5 years all went away, all went in flames. And that was a very major thing for my career because I'm still going through it. I don't know how it will impact me. I'm still going through it, and I'm still trying to see how I can move forward from it. So it's still a thing that I'm still moving towards. So what was involved in the fire was a body of work for this show. What I had created for this show. Everything that I had created for this show since last year, August, and until June 15th. everything that I've created for this show was burnt down, and I had nothing now for showing here. And what I can say that has impacted me since that time is I've seen like real support from people who I've met through my career, like from the art community. I've seen people come in and maybe someone even sending me even 100, 200 shillings. And that's really like something that I would really be very thankful, because I don't think anyone or everyone has any money to give like just anyone. Because things happen in life, and every time if something is happening in a very wrong way, and it's not a responsibility for everyone to help in, but someone who feels like they can help you, you should really be very grateful. So I've seen like real community, real people who have come to my life and helped me through this time. Because even having this show now, that's how I've had to go to a residency, which was happening here at Kibera Arts District, and I made the 26 pieces within 3 weeks. And I worked on them, and I made the body of work, and still maintained the theme that I had since last year, August. So I didn't want to dissolve it with the fire or the incident of the fire. I wanted to maintain my theme, but still have this heaviness of what artists go through, showing that my studio was involved in a fire. But still, as an artist, I have this belief that this is a very important body of work. It's a very important theme that I have to work on it and make it known. So when I got the support from the art district that I can make, from the Kibera Arts District, that I can come here for the residency for 1 month, it was a very big support. And also like the art community would send me some cash, which helped me like to buy sand at home, to build the structure again, to pay maybe the contractors, and even for food, because at that time, all your focus is now like all over the place. You have nothing. All that you had is now gone. The pieces that I had created for maybe different people, different community, different organizations are now gone. And even one of my shows, because the pieces that I did last year for Femicide exhibition were also supposed to be shown again sometime in July, actually in August. They were supposed to be shown again in a place called Creative's Garage. There had this exhibition called Mascan. I was supposed to be part of it. So it was my part of my contribution in it. The artworks that I had were all, so my contribution was all like cancelled. Like I could not show it again. So it was a very great impact in my career, and it felt like it really shook me. But through the support that I've received from different people, it has made me see like it's very important as an artist to really create a community for yourself. People maybe would never be able to purchase your work, but just make them be able to see their life in your work. Make them feel connected to what you're making. Yeah, and it's not a must that you always put that as a responsibility, but just be yourself, and you'll find someone who connects to what you've done. My house, we've lived in Mukuru Kwa Reuben since I was a kid, and our house has never been involved in a fire. So it was a first of its kind in my life, and it has had a very major impact in my life. I'm still experiencing it. I can't say that I have experienced it fully. I'm still going through it, because it was very traumatizing, and I feel like I have to really understand it well before I even put myself out already to express it. And it's a very deep thing when you go to the slum, because many people go through it and they even give up in life and being alive is just like you just be alive, and the rest is just like you let it happen the way it has. Yeah, so I'm still going through it. I haven't found a way to put it down, and it's a constant journey of understanding that. Where I get the strength to keep on going is, I think since 2018 when I was kicked out of school, I wasn't like strong as like I see myself now, because I think also myself I can really say that I'm resilient, but that has come as a point of has come from like the community that I've had, that I've put together over the years, because I knew what I wanted, and I constantly know what my work is aiming for, and I know I can really tell where it's going in the next few years. And with that belief, I keep working towards where I think I'm heading. And since 2018, that resilient part of me wasn't there, but still, I would look at something, and when I concentrate on it, it will be it and it alone. So when I discover that art is what I want, and I want to like really major in it, I focused on it and placed all my hope and everything in like, I have nothing else to do. I don't know any kind of work else that I can do, but I know I am an artist. If I can make opportunities for myself in my, maybe in my home area, maybe in any place that I get to, I can bring a lot of things to life. And that's the drive that keeps me like knowing that tomorrow I can make something big tomorrow. I can make something huge tomorrow. So that, with that reason of always knowing what brings me to the studio, it has made me to stay as an artist. Like, let it all happen, it's life, let it all unfold the way it will unfold, but still maintain your practice, be in the studio, be creative, make sure you make something, make sure you document your experience. So as I say, like I'm not very big of a writer. Like sometimes I write poems about maybe the artworks that I make, because some of my works are very poetic in the way that they are, in the forms that they are. But my expression is more into figurative art. That's why I would say that my work is my diary. Like it's an expression of my life, the way I have experienced it. Not the way I would like it to be seen, but the way I would have experienced it. Because I know there's a way I want this work, I want my life to be described. There's that perfect way that everyone has. Like you want it to be said in this manner, it was experienced this, you lived this. But there's a way that I'm experiencing it. And that way that I'm experiencing, that's how I'm expressing it in my work. Because I can't predict how I'll experience my life. Like even the fire, it was among the things that I never expected would happen to my studio, because I was just waiting until January so that I make my studio into a permanent space. But now everything trashed, and we have to make it now. And if not now, we have to make it like right now. Yeah, so there's an artwork here called Unknown is Scary. So it's always scary. You can't really tell what will happen tomorrow, but you can keep working towards it. So I just keep creating what I'm creating, knowing that I'm going somewhere. And I don't know what will unfold, but I just keep going. So yeah, and then keeping community close, that's what has made me like the way I am. Yeah, because it's not like something that I can say that I own that resilient power. It's just people that are around me. Because for once in my career, it felt like even this show felt like it won't happen. Like you would sit down, you've prepared this for like 1 year. You've been working on it for 1 year on paper, researching the medium for 1 year, and then it's all gone. So now you have to stand again. You have to keep working on it again. Yeah, so that community is what helped me together, especially in this time. Most rewarding thing I would say is like I've had myself expressing real experiences of my life. I've had people come to me and wanting to push on what I'm doing. And also like for me personally, I've had to grow, like to discover myself, like the showcase itself, Ministry of Discovery. I've had to discover myself, because the person I am right now is not just the same person I was 5 years ago. And even people who have met me can testify to that. And that's something that even my mom constantly says to me, that I've really changed. And that's something that I can also say thanks to art, thanks to being free, thanks to being authentic. And also like, it has brought me to a place where I can now see myself as an artist that I really am. Yeah, so, and also the most rewarding part of it has also been like being recognized, like by the BBC, being interviewed by the BBC. And because that's a platform that you would only dream of, like coming from the slum. It's not something that you would get yourself like at a grip of, like grip it, like have your maybe a story being told by such kind of an agency. And even the medium that I was using at that time, that was documented in the BBC, that was measured on so much, was the medium that was using eggshells. And as I told you the story with the eggshells, I was collecting them from the dump sites when I started out, and even having it documented by African. It was in African news, in I think a worldwide network, and in different platforms actually, and it has grown. It has grown over time, and that's something that I can really say that I'm really proud of, to have sticked to my career, to have believed in that there is something good that I can come out of everything that I'm going through. So through being authentic, through being myself, through being honestly who I am, it has brought me to live as a human being. And I just feel like my life, the way it has grown, like it is now, I don't even have like so much expectations towards what I can bring forth, but just constantly making something out of anything. Big dream that I have as an artist is to connect people more, and the strategy that I have for this is, and this is a very short term strategy because it's short term and long term. So as it is, I want to connect people in art in a way that we can make artworks together, like promoting genuine connections in community, like in a way, like, because I feel like in the art scene there's been a lot of people make art alone, which is good. I'm not against that, but I feel like it would be better if we collaborate in making art. Like I can come with my skills and you can come with your skills, and we put it together in one piece of art, not in a mural, but in a particular piece of art which is carryable, which is, we can move it across. So with that, I want to promote community, and that's a dream that I have, to promote community. And then long term, I want to connect people using my work. So like bringing these experiences, real life experiences, and like connecting it with my experiences, these experiences, bringing them together and making something that we can all come together and really see that this is something good, something that we can put and exist closely with. And also like to redefine history, because I feel like some of it has been taken away from us, and that will be communicated through us becoming together. So like bringing people together in our diversity as who we are, bringing us all together, and majorly African identities, bringing them together, because it's been very dispersed. Like we are very far from each other, and the things that you see that are separating us are very minor things that we can just talk them through and accept each of us for who we really are, and there won't be a problem anymore. So my work, I wanted to play part in communing, like bringing people together, not seeing anyone as an alien or anything, but just accepting that that's who they are, and we have to live with them closely as they are. Okay, so on Instagram, you can find me at Mika Obanda. On Facebook, Mika Obanda. But I have a page which is called Mika, which I constantly share on my WhatsApp, in my Facebook account, Mika Obanda. And I also have my studio page, the one like my space which was involved in the fire. The page of the studio is called Mika Atelier. That's where I share my studio experiences, like how I make my work. Yeah, so and then in Mika Obanda's account, that's where I share my maybe complete work or maybe progress that I've made in my work. Yeah, so and then Twitter, Mika Obanda, and LinkedIn, Mika Obanda, an account that I'm still working on, still making it so that you can become actively working. My WhatsApp number is 0768225932. Yeah, when you reach me from there, you can get to talk to me, and we can work something out.